kicking off the night, we have Beneil Dariush versus Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman at 170 pounds. Beneil Dariush, he's out of Iran. He's 18-4-1, 31 years old, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 12-4-1 in the UFC. He's a 4-time Performance of the Night winner. And he's currently on a 4-fight win streak, with his most recent being a knockout over Drakkar Klose in the second round. And now he's going against Scott Holtzman. And Scott Holtzman is American. He's 14-3, 36 years old, so he's a little bit older. 5 feet 9 inches tall, but he's 7-3 in the UFC, and he's currently on a 2-fight win streak, with his most recent win being a decision win over Jim Miller, who was a former top 5 guy for a long time.
Yeah.
What do you think about these guys?
This is an exciting fight for me because I've been pretty big on Beneil Dariush. When I first watched his UFC debut, he just was super fun. Like, he was explosive, and I just really liked what I saw with him. And to add on to his 4-fight win streak and knockout win, he actually is coming off 3 straight finishes because he has 2 submission wins prior to that knockout. And that's his bread and butter. His submission wins is what he's looking for.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to want. Beneil's going to be doing. He's going to be looking to drag this thing down. He's pretty well-rounded. He has a black belt in Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, so obviously he can stand and bang. He can take this to the ground, and he's good either way.
Yeah.
When you get it, though, with Holtzman looks strong dude. Like, he just looks strong. And I don't even think, if I remember right, he wasn't really a wrestler in school, wasn't boxing. I don't even think he got really into MMA after he graduated high school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's 36 now, so he's obviously had some time to train and add things to his repertoire. But, he is a BJJ brown belt now.
Yes.
So he should be comfortable on the ground. When I watched a lot of his fights,
but we did talk about there being levels, right?
Yeah, there's levels to it. I didn't see who he was a BJJ brown belt under, because you've seen brown belts under one guy who are actually black belts under another guy, or you can see him white belt or black belts.
Who was able to beat these black belts from other guys?
Right.
We've
seen that in jiu-jitsu tournaments all the time too.
I did see though they have a comparable fighter in there, in Drew Dober.
Yep.
So Drew Dober was submitted by Dariush.
Yep.
That was a second-round submission. But then Drew Dober also beat Holtzman by decision.
Yep.
Obviously, MMA math doesn't play out that way.
Doesn't always work.
But, if I'm looking at it and I'm trying to think about names and seeing how these guys have done, Dariush, he's got a hit list of guys that he's taken out.
Yeah, man.
So we talked about Jim Miller. We talked about Drew Dober. How about Diego Ferreira? He beat Diego Ferreira. He also beat Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson's a guy that I think could have potentially been one of the best in the world, has all the athletic ability, but doesn't have the mental
fortitude.
Mental fortitude, to do it. So he beat Michael Johnson. And then he also beat James Vick as well.
Yeah.
So if you look at who has the better wins, in my opinion, Dariush.
He does.
If you look at who's got the experience, Dariush. Dariush is also a 3-time silver medalist and at the Jiu-Jitsu World Tournament. He's a 1-time bronze medalist. He's also a 3-time world no-gi champion, 1-time silver medalist, and a 1-time bronze medalist. So, not only is he a black belt, but he is a proven black belt against competition.
Right.
And one of the big things about jiu-jitsu and their belts, a lot of it was primarily based on competition and what you're doing. So Dariush took him only 5 years to get his black belt.
Yeah,
that's
insane.
That's how good and how fast he is. I know people who have been brown belts for longer than 5 years.
Yeah.
So it took him 5 years to get that black belt from white to black. That's insane.
That's insanely fast.
Yeah, and then he went out and competed at a level that proves that he was worthy of being promoted at that speed. So that versus somebody else who is a brown belt makes it a little bit hard for me. Holtzman is the former XFC 155-pound champion, though, so he does have title fights under his belt as well, but it's not the same as world championship fights
No.
or world championship tournaments.
No.
Ultimately, in this fight, though, I think it's going to the ground. I think Dariush submits him. I think he gets him in round 2.
Okay. So for me, you know, Holtzman's never been finished.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very strong. Like I was mentioning that earlier, he's very, very strong. He does defend the takedown pretty well. We saw that a few times, but we did also see a guy in Nick Lentz who was able to drag him down several times throughout that fight and etch out a decision win.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to go extremely similar to the Nick Lentz fight. I think you're going to see Dariush getting him down. I think you're going to see Holtzman kind of get up a couple times, defend off his back a little bit, but ultimately I think Dariush wins with a decision.
So you got a decision on there. All right. I just think that there's levels to it. I think somebody's competed at the level that Dariush will or has. I think he's proven his black belt, and I just think that gives him the edge there. But we'll find out here.
Yeah.